Hello, and welcome to our 8-part video series on how to teach creative writing with me, your host, Nick Hesketh. In this part, we'll look at creative ways to teach structure in creative writing. First, follow the link to when writing a story and print out a copy or copies for the class wall or tables. Distribute at the appropriate time. Begin this lesson by getting a pupil to ask if you've had a nice holiday. Answer normally using the past tense. Yes, thank you, it was lovely. I went to wherever. Now, ask for the question again. This time, give a brief but detailed account of your journey. Arrival, first day, last day, and return home in the present tense. It should be both comical and ridiculous. I am on a plane. The plane is landing. I am in a taxi. A little bit of private practice is always a good idea. Ask the class which sounded more convincing, the story told in the past or present tense. Clearly, answering in the past tense was more believable. This is because, by definition, stories take place in the past. We tend to plan in the present tense. This is because the brain is finding the lines of least resistance, using most of its creative energy to compute future events. In the classroom, the application of the present tense is often a sign of lazy writing. Insist that from now on they will only write in the past tense. Plan in the present tense, compose in the past tense. This will help to keep stream of consciousness writing under control when garbled thoughts are scrawled unfiltered onto the page. Of course, the children will be aware that many books are written in the present tense. Explain that the authors of such works had to master writing in the past tense first. Now, get the children to give our main character, Tom, the boy who woke from a nightmare at the end of the last talk, a small backstory explaining why he is starting at a new school. This exercise is to help Tom become real in the children's minds and encourage them to empathise with him as the tale unfolds. It will also introduce them to the creative pleasure of building a story off the page. When done, return to the tale. As before, help the children discover the story. The more they feel in control, the better. Don't rush. Include enough detail to be interesting, but not so much as to cause stagnation. It's a delicate balance, and you'll feel their interest slipping if you get it wrong. As the story progresses, continue with the word bank. As already mentioned, I'm going to use a pre-prepared story framework. However, be flexible. Sometimes the children take true ownership of the story, and it becomes something unique and wonderful. It is Tom's first day in his new school. In class, an oddly dressed girl is wandering around. Everyone else is ignoring her, and she appears bored. Eventually, she leaves, and it becomes clear that Tom was the only one who saw her. Remind the class that it is the unexpected that entertains. The fact that Tom was the only one who saw her is odd, and will help keep the reader's interest. Later, Tom's new friend Jack tells him that the school has a ghost called Coalhouse Annie. Sometime around the 1880s, Annie was in the school cellar playing hide and seek when a load of coal was dumped down a chute. Tom now realises Annie must be the girl he saw in class. Later, he sees her again, perhaps on parents' night when he's accidentally locked in the school, and eventually wins her trust. She tells him she knows her parents will be worried and are looking for her, but the school doesn't want her found. Obviously, this is a summary. Any good story can be told in a few lines. Make sure to give each part a setting, an atmosphere, and don't forget to create periphery characters like teachers and school bullies. Creative writers have a saying, fiction is friction. This means that writers must find conflict in every scene. For instance, when Tom's new friend Jack tells him the school has a ghost called Coalhouse Annie, a gang of bullies may have just locked him in the very cellar where she is supposed to have died. Details such as these help turn those few dry lines into an exciting and discomforting scenario. Now, ask the pupils to write a paragraph structured around their favourite part of the story so far. Remind them that wherever possible, they must evoke at least one of the 5 senses, avoid unsupported blunt words, and always write in the past tense. Also forbid the children from beginning their piece with the words one day or once upon a time. It's lazy writing and can be indicative of an unengaged mind. If stuck, they can use as instead. As Tom approached the enormous building, he couldn't help noticing how disapproving it looked. Or, as the low winter sun peered through the railings, Tom trudged alone amongst dark knots of children. Or, as Tom settled behind the desk and began unpacking, his eye was caught by a movement in the corner of the room. For those who are truly stuck, suggest they write about Tom noticing Annie for the first time, seeing how others in the room shiver when she stands close, or how she mischievously pulls a poster off the wall, or tilts a pencil case onto the floor. His teacher might blame these events on a breeze coming from an open window or door. Often, unmotivated children respond well to suggestions that involve a character behaving in an anarchic, mischievous, or even cruel manner. Impishness appeals to them. In such cases, you might suggest they write a scene where Annie sits in the same chair as a pupil, who immediately turns grey and vomits. She moves away, looking very pleased with herself. At this stage, the children mustn't worry about spelling, another constraint. Instead, get them to put a wavy line under any uncertain words.